Hey there, NEC Warrior. Welcome to another day. It is Thursday. My goodness, is this week flying and we're headed right into Christmas. Hopefully, your holiday planning and getting together with families and all the things you're doing are going well, going very well. Today, we're going to be talking about the seasons of life and why that matters in our health and fitness. And I'm going to share with you how I came to this realization. So I'm super excited about it because this is one of the biggest things that has changed and made an impact on my health and fitness because it's really something we need to take in consideration. I think we ignore it so much. At least I know I did back in my past, and really was the key to me from stopping this whole yo-yo dieting thing. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So as you're listening to it, I ask that maybe you look at what it is in your life, where you are in your life, and how maybe this advice could, or at least my sharing of my journey, may affect what you can do especially during this season, right? I would say at this point in time, you're probably in your business, you're probably doing some things with your family and everything, and actually trying to focus on your health and fitness becomes a little bit smaller. And I want to show you what I am doing during these times. If you are watching this on YouTube, please make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. If you're listening to this on the podcast, please make sure to follow. Also, leave a comment. Let me know any future episodes that you'd like me to talk about. I'd love to hear what you want to hear about, and I can at least share my experience and how I deal with it in health and fitness. And maybe that will be something that you can take into your future and really, make a difference in your life, especially in your health and fitness. I have no sponsors today, but if you love to, and I would love you to, join our Facebook group. Trying to get more people in there to stimulate some conversations and really get deeper into this on a one-on-one, open up breakup rooms and things like that. Just having some fun with health and fitness and just to share ideas with each other. If we're talking about the same things and something resonates with you, it'd be really good to talk it out with people instead of just keeping it in here. I find that the more I talk to people who think the similar ways that are on this, mission, I do have challenges in there. I do want to stimulate conversations about how we can incorporate health and fitness in a very limited time because a lot of us are limited by how much time we can spend on health and fitness. So how do we make the most out of it and still stay healthy and fit regardless of how much time we have, right? So that's what I'm looking to do there. So with that, let's just jump right into the topic of the seasons of life.
Welcome to the NAC Warrior Show.
It actually started when I was on vacation, when I read this book called The Slight Edge. And it was actually this really changed my life in health and fitness and aspects of how I approach things in life. And this was written by Jeff Olson. And I highly recommend that you read this book. And it really changed the perspective because what it does is it talks about starting small and then eventually making things bigger. So I was on vacation and I was feeling out of shape and I wanted to get back into shape. And I was reading in this book, which I love to learn on vacation. That's like one of the things I love to do. And so as I'm reading this book, Jeff talks about how we start small and then slightly make bigger progressions. So on vacation, I told my wife I was going to go exercise. And so what I did was I came up with a quick exercise in my mind of what I wanted to do and work on. So I did one push-up, one crunch, one side crunch on both sides, and I did like this one leg lift, and I believe I did a Superman, and I did only one. And she was laughing at me. She's like, that wasn't even an exercise. But I was like, I can fit that in, right? Vacation, easy to do. Then the next day I did 2. And then the next day I did 3. And then I kept doing that until I got to a state where I was just like doing like 3 sets of 10, or I can't remember what I got up to, but I was like, that was very approachable, right? Not only did it fit into where I was at that time, vacation, and it didn't consume a lot of time, but mentally I was like, oh yeah, this is easy. If you remember me starting eccentric contraction workout, ECP, um, I started with 5 pounds. Even though I know I can curl more than 5 pounds, I still started with 5 pounds. I've used that philosophy ever since. Instead of, you know, doing all these like programs that take you like, you know, have you throw everything out the door, you start with 30 minutes and everything. I don't do that anymore. Because of that book, I now start easy and I ease myself into it. But there was a problem with that book. And I still highly recommend that you do that book. But the problem I ran into was that once I got up to a certain point, there were times when I couldn't do it, right? Like, so if I were to do an hour, if I got up to an hour of working out, if I was on vacation or if I was during a busy time of the year for work or something like that, or when I became a parent, an hour was not realistic for me anymore. So what did I do in that sense? And that was a big struggle because then I would just stop. That's what I did in the past. I would just stop and not do anything. And then, of course, then what did I had to do? I had to start all over back at, one push up or walking 1 minute and then gradually bring myself up. That's better than nothing, but it was kind of like depressing, like I was like, oh, and I just wanted to fight through it. And then and that's where a lot of my yo-yo dieting came in, but it was reduced a lot just by applying the slight edge, right? It became like more of a, okay, I can do this, right? It made it into baby steps. What I started realizing was that what really, really changed everything was when I decided that, okay, if I only have 10 minutes to work out, then I'm just going to do 10 minutes. If I have the full hour, then I will do the full hour. But I have to be realistic and just do what I can in the time that I have. And that has made a huge difference because now it wasn't like, okay, yeah, this is perfect. But I actually, to be honest, I had to set up 4 different rules for myself. And this didn't come in till later on when I was running and said, okay, and this actually, like, I can't even go into how huge these things just started lining up for me because I got injured. And when you get injured and I wanted to do the half marathon because I wanted to get a new personal record, it was like very important to me that I didn't lose what I had. So I had to do something, and I knew the perfect exercises that I should be doing those days. And I kept saying, oh, it stinks that I can't do that. But I started thinking to myself, I need to move up to that at some point, but I can't just like stop working out for a month and then go try it to see if it works. What if I kind of like tested myself and like eased into whatever I could do? So if I could walk, I would walk. If I could run, then I would run. If I could run for 1 minute and then I had to stop because I felt a little pain, then I would back off. And I kept doing that until I got to the point where when I got fully healed, I was like, boom, off to the races. And it did set me back. I mean, let's face it did set me back. But it didn't set me so back because too far, because I quickly got right back into it and I ended up hitting that new personal record. But that made me realize, oh my gosh, like we don't have to do the perfect workout all the time. We don't have to be able to do everything exactly the way we needed it to. If you drop it down to like 4 different expectations for the day, then you could actually still succeed in the long run. Because in that moment, that one moment of time probably was not even that big of a difference. And for me, it was like a month and a half or 2 months of being injured before I fully could get back into running, to my regular workouts. But if I just stopped and just gave up, I would have been so much further behind. And so I said, I need to apply this in all like aspects of life. Like, yeah, ideally I could go out there and exercise for an hour, but maybe I only have 30 minutes, or maybe I only have 5, or maybe I can't do it this intense because I'm injured. And I'm like, we have to adjust. We have to adjust. Or maybe there's a program that we really want to do and it's an hour long, but we don't have an hour. Just do it for 30 minutes. Like, why do we have to do it for an hour? And just that one aspect, like, really opened up for me. And then I started saying to myself, okay, there are patterns in our lives. And this is where I come up with the seasons, because every year I knew at certain times it was going to get busy. As an accountant in my company that I was working for, or in the company that I work for, I knew at the end of the year it was going to get mad crazy, and exercising was like one of the last things that I got to get to do. But it was one of the last things that I was able to do. And so what did I do at those times was I could do whatever I was able to squeak in. Maybe I had a break at lunch that I just needed to walk away because it was getting too intense, and I took that moment to go exercise. And maybe it wasn't like the full hour or half hour that I planned, but it was something. And so I started recognizing, like, every year we sort of have like this ebb and flow, right? We know when we're going to take vacations about. We know what we tend to do during vacations. And I was like, we can plan for that, right? So if I know I'm trying to hit a challenge, I'm not going to plan it after a busy time of the season, right? Like in January or December. I'm going to place it further, like maybe June, or right after July, or somewhere right around there, and then maybe in the fall. So having that understanding is really important. Then I said to myself, what about life, right? Like life, we have these different seasons of life. When we're younger, we have so much time. And then when we start working, like right when we start a new job or something, we have less time because we're trying to consume information and trying to make connections and things like that. We don't have as much time to work out as if we were already established in a job. When you become a parent, when you start a new business, all these things like take more time from you. If you have something going on in your life, a family, a situation, that's actually more of a atomic, what I call atomic. But you have these seasons that as you go through, you're not going to have as much time. And that's why I believe a lot of people, like myself included, when I started health and fitness, one of the things that really got to me was that when I was younger, I was running, and that was my life. Run, 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 run. You ask my family, you ask my friends, running was my life. Then I got into the real world after college, and I tried to keep it up, but work was very demanding. And so I started reducing that. And there was no accountability there. So things started falling apart. And then once I got married and got into full life of having kids, buying a house, and all that stuff, like that sucked away my time. And I didn't have that concept of the slight edge of slowly easing into stuff. And I didn't have the concept of do what you can with what time you had. So I just gave up, and then I would blow up like a balloon. Then I would go on to some diet or some program, reduce my weight, but then and I could fight through that, but then life would take me back away. And then it just became this struggle. But once I really learned that we can actually adjust and really look forward ahead to what could be coming to us, we can actually plan things. And with that made a huge difference, knowing that, okay, during this time, I'm not going to be able to work out. I'm going to start building a new business. I know that I'm going to spend a lot of time working on different things, that workouts and stuff. My health is going to have to sort of take a little back seat to what I really want to accomplish. And then when things start picking back up, then I'll pick my health back up, right? And so these things are what really made a difference. But then there was this other level. So we have what I call the life seasons, right? Like we know through our lives, like once I retire, if I ever decide to retire, I'll have more time. But then we have the like yearly cycle, the cycles that we know like things are going to happen because of our job, because of family dynamics, because of holidays, because of vacations. We know these things are going to occur, so we can kind of predict them. But the things we can't predict is what I call the atomic season, which is your day by day. You don't know what's going to happen in your day. We can plan, we can try to forge what's going to happen, but life may send something to us that we're not really expecting. And so what do we do with that? Like, we could get injured. Something can happen to our family. Our boss could have something come to us and need us to do something, or maybe you have a big client all of a sudden calls you up and they want your help immediately, and so you need to drop what you're doing to go serve the other thing that's, the distraction, I call it, from your health and fitness. So we got to be able to adapt for that. So being able to be okay with having less time doing things, regards to health and fitness, is really going to set you up for success. So when I look at a program now, say a 30-minute program, I try to break it up into smaller chunks and say, in most programs, like, they do cycles, right? Like, they do 5 exercises in one group, and then they give you a rest, and then they do the next cycle. So what I may do is just be prepared to do only 1 cycle, or 2 cycles, or 3. Or if I want to do more, I'll even go on the other side and say, okay, let me do 4 cycles or 5, right? So don't let the program dictate what you can do. Let your experience and your intentions dictate what you can do with that. And if it doesn't have a cycle in it, then maybe you just you make it a cycle, right? You do the whole program, and if you have more time, you do more of it. If it has like let's say it has 20 different exercises throughout. If you have more time, you can make that whole 20 do it again. If you don't have enough time, maybe do only 5 of the 20, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, that's better than just saying, oh, I can't work out today, right? And then I actually went a step further and said, maybe we can't physically work out. And then a lot of people start freaking out. But health and fitness has more than just exercise. There's hydration, there's sleeping, there's your nutrition, all those things you can start working on and just saying, okay, I can't work on that, but I can work on all these things during this time. I'm on vacation, nutrition's out the door, but maybe I can move, maybe I can still make sure I get enough sleep, and maybe I can work on meditating or something like that will help me with my mental capacity and my mental health, and all these different things that you can work on that doesn't have to necessarily rely on nutrition. Or maybe you won't have enough time to do nutrition and motion or exercise. So what will you do instead? And adapting the 6 habits around the seasons can really help too, because those other things matter. And sometimes even more importantly than nutrition and exercise itself, right? Hydration is super important. Sleep is super important. The air quality or breathing, you can use your breathing to change your state and change your health. So all these things really need to be taken into consideration when you're talking about the seasons of your life. And once you realize that, once you start breaking down the barriers like I did, then things start like really makes it really easy to do this thing called health and fitness. That was my experience. So in my days now, it becomes very tricky. So I'm like, oh, okay, how do I sneak this in? How do I sneak that in? But because of that, I'm not worried so much anymore, right? I'm not like, oh, I didn't work out. I'm horrible. My health and fitness is out the door. Throw it out the door. This is just not for me. But I have found that if I can adjust my days or my habits around what's happening, then and not be so rigid, then the rest of it just comes, because then you're like, oh yes, today I got an hour, so I get to do an hour, right? Oh, today I only have 5 minutes. Oh, okay, I'll do the 5 minutes. And then you're not like set in stone, and like, because once you set an expectation, right, what happens when we set expectations? And maybe this is what I'll talk about in the future, is once we set an expectation and we fall short of it, we get we get down on ourselves, right? Like, we set in emotion that really starts breaking us down, instead of saying, ooh, I got 5 minutes today. Oh, yeah, I planned to do an hour, but guess what? I was able to at least do 5 minutes. And again, everything goes back to mindset, right? Everything goes back to mindset. So that's the story for today. All right. The seasons of life, use that as you can. I believe that will take you to the next level for sure on your health and fitness. It was like a game changer for me. So yeah, tomorrow I think I'm going to talk about more about the mindset of things, because this is this besides the seasons, like mindset is huge. Like it really determines the rest of your health and fitness. If you can't master that, the rest of it sort of is like you're fighting against yourself. So we really got to exercise this and really figure out how to get this in control. And I'm going to show you what I did and explain my journey through that part tomorrow. So if you feel like this episode really would help somebody, please share it with them. Let them know that, the seasons of life can really impact you. And if they understand that, that may change them. If you feel like this changed you too, right? Like share that with somebody and say, hey, this is how we can get over that barrier. So I would appreciate it if you shared this. If you again are watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit the notifications. If you're listening to this on the podcast, please let me know. There'll be a question there. And again, leave comments, right? Let me know, like, what did you think about this session? What do you think about a future session that you'd like me to talk about? Just let me know. Communication is key. And I'm trust me, I'm wanting to give you as much information, but of course I can only give you what I know, like what worked for me. Or if I read something, I'm actually reading something really cool right now on vacation. So I'm super excited to share that with you. But I need to digest it and really take a look at it, because it really works on up here. But it's I'm really excited about what I'm going to learn. Hopefully I learned something from it. I just started it today. I hope to get it done by tomorrow, the full reading. But I'm super excited about that. But please give me feedback, and just know that, hey, go out there, do your thing. Let me know what I can do to help you on your health and fitness journey. Join our Facebook group. The link is in the description, and just go out there. The whole point of this is to reclaim your energy, get control, get that confidence in your health and fitness, and really truly love who you are right now. If you can do that, your life becomes so different in all aspects of your life. But I'm focused on health and fitness today, so let's do that. Okay, with that, I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day.